Are you a beginner who wants to learn how to improvise at the piano, but you don't want to learn a bunch of different chords? Well, when I was just improvising, I was only using one chord in my left hand the entire time, and it's an amazing chord because it works over so many different bass notes, and it has a really cool sound. So in today's lesson, I'm going to teach you this chord. I call it the hope chord, and then I'm going to teach you how you can improvise in your right hand to create some beautiful sounds. So let's go ahead and dive in. All right, you ready to learn the notes of the hope chord? It's actually such a simple chord, and here are the notes. Okay, beautiful chord. The notes are G, A, C, and F. Okay, so it kind of has a little bit of a clustery sound. Okay, and at first glance you might be thinking, Johnny, what the heck is this chord? Well, the easy way to think of this chord is that it's simply an F major chord. Right? This is an F major chord. It's inverted down, and then I'm putting a G in the bass, or the bottom note. So you can actually think of this chord as an F over G, or an F/G. Now, the amazing thing about this chord is it's actually 3 chords in one. So check this out. If I put an F in the bass, I get this gorgeous sound. This is called an F add 2. It's kind of like an F major with an added 2, okay? So really nice sound. Now, put a D in the bass. Ooh, right? The sound of this chord totally changes because we have a different bass note. And now it has this kind of minor dark sound to it, okay? This is called a D minor 11. And we did not change any notes in the chord here, we just simply changed the bass note, and it gives it a totally different sound. Okay, now put a G in the bass, and you get, once again, a very different sound. And by the way, this chord is called a G9 sus4. Now, if these names are unfamiliar to you, don't worry, they'll start to make sense over time as you study these chords, okay? So this is the magic of this chord, is you can change the bass note and you get entirely different sounds. So when we're playing with the backing track, you're basically going to stay on the same chord the entire time, and the bass note in the backing track is going to change, and it's going to completely change the sound of this chord. All right, next I'm going to show you how to groove on this chord, and we're going to practice improvising. But before we do this, if you're enjoying this video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more videos just like this. Okay, so if you want to groove on this chord, there's kind of 2 ways to do it. One is if you're playing solo piano, so you're playing by yourself, and then the other way is if you're playing with a band or if you're playing with a backing track. So if you're playing by yourself, then you're definitely going to want to add some root notes in. Okay, so here's the way I like to do it. We're going to start on an F chord. I'm going to play the root and the 5th, and then I'm going to jump up to this F over G chord, or F/G, and I'm going to play it 3 times. So 1, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Then we're going to go to our D chord. I'm going to put a little 5th in the bass here, gives it a nice solid foundation, and then we're going to jump up to the chord. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the G chord. We're going to do a nice open 5th on the bottom. Again, nice solid foundation. And then we go to our chord 3 times. And then we're going to stay on the G chord for 1 more measure, okay? That's basically going to be our left hand accompaniment. Now, if you're playing with the backing track, guess what? You do not have to change chords at all because there's already a bass in the backing track. All right, so let's go ahead and play with the backing track, and then I'm going to show you how to improvise with 2 grip positions. It is so easy. All right, here it is with the backing track. And here we go. Stay right on this chord. Isn't that beautiful? You don't have to go anywhere. You can stay in the exact same position, okay? Now, if you want, you can grab the bass notes with the band. Isn't that gorgeous? D. Love the sound of this, okay? One more time on the G. 2, 3, 4. By the way, you can download this backing track plus the lesson sheet music you're seeing up here on the top left of the screen over at pianowithjonny.com. You can also change the key of this entire lesson with a click of one button with our smart sheet music. So I'll put a link to all of that below. All right, we've established our hope chord. We talked about how to groove on this chord. And by the way, you could change the order of these chords. So for example, you could start on a D, and then you could go to an F, okay? And then you could go to your G, okay? So feel free to change the order of the chords to make it your own. Okay, once you're feeling good here, let's talk about how to improvise in the right hand. I'm gonna play you a quick demo improv, and then I'll teach you how you can improvise. Isn't that beautiful? And basically in the right hand, I'm only using two what I call grip positions. They're so simple to play. Okay, the first grip that you need to know if you want to get this sound when you're improvising, I call the lower grip. We're going to use the notes G, C, E, and F. Okay, and we want to get this little cluster on the top. So go ahead and play this chord. Make sure you have it in your fingers, and you can even block this chord up and down the piano if you want to get really comfortable with your lower grip. Now for the upper grip, all you're going to do is you're going to take the bottom two notes of this chord and you're going to put them on the top. Okay? So now we're going to have this really big cluster on the bottom, E, F, G, and then we're going to put the C on the top there. Okay? And I call this the upper grip because now we're putting the C on the top. Okay? And so I would block this up and down the piano. You could play it way up here and then way up there. Okay? So once again, two grips that you're going to want to know to improvise in this style. Lower grip, upper grip. Isn't that gorgeous? And then you can repeat it. Lower grip, upper grip, lower grip, upper grip. All right, so how do you actually improvise using these grips? Well, before you start making up your own improvisation, it's really good to practice some exercises so that you can learn some of the most common improv techniques. So the first technique you're gonna learn is probably the most important one. It's called your 16th note technique, and 16th notes sound like this. It's really going to drive the majority of your solo. So how do you actually practice your 16th notes? Well, here's a little exercise I put together that will help you master this rhythm. Okay, it's that simple, okay? Basically, I'm taking my upper grip and I'm coming down, and then I'm coming back up, and then I'm going to go C, G. Okay, that's it. And then we're going to repeat it a second time. Okay, in my left hand, I'm going to play my chords 1, and then 2. That's simple. And then 3, and then 4. Okay, super simple. Now, if you are playing solo piano, you could put the roots on the bottom. So 1, and then 2, 3, 4. Does that make sense? And then you change chords to the D, and then 2, 3, 4, and then the G, and then another G again, okay? But if you're playing this with the backing track, then you do not need to play the roots on the bottom. You can basically just sit on the chord. All right, let's play this exercise with the backing track, and then I'll show you how to improvise with it. Here we go. Here's our G. Now you can play this exercise in the other positions. Let's try it up here. Right, same exact pattern. I'm doing it in the other position, okay? So you're gonna wanna practice these, And once you're feeling good, you can actually start to improvise some lines using these grips. So let's play it with a backing track, and this time we're gonna actually improvise our own melodies. All right, here we go. So I'd start simple, maybe kind of low. And there's my melody. You can add a little D in there if you want. Okay. Let's come up to our upper grip here. And maybe let's go up to this grip. Down to a grip, and let's come down to a grip. Isn't that gorgeous? And again, I'm just soloing around these two grip positions, and I'm using primarily 16th notes. All right, before I teach you technique number 2, if you're enjoying this lesson and you want to do a deep dive on how to solo in this style, which I call the contemporary style, check out our contemporary progressions and improv course over at pianowithjonny.com. I'll put a link to that below. All right, technique number 2 is what I call the brush technique, and it has a beautiful sound. Check it out. A beautiful sound, and it's actually very simple. All I'm doing is I'm taking my two grips and I'm brushing down the notes like that, okay? And so a brush is when you take the notes of your chord starting on the top note and you brush down the notes, okay? Now you want to develop some speed as you're practicing your brush, okay? And notice that the notes are fairly evenly spaced, okay? So as you're practicing this, make sure you're not playing it, you know, kind of choppy like that. Okay? Now you can also do this with your upper grip. Okay? With the brush, I'm coming down all of the notes. Okay? Now there's a very simple brush exercise I put together here for you, and it goes like this. Okay? Basically all I'm doing is I'm grabbing my chord, 1 brush to the E, and then F, and then G, C, G, F, and then a chord. We're gonna do the brush, down to the E, F, and then G, C, G, F. That's it, that's the basic rhythm. Here it is really slowly. 1, E, and a, 2, E, and a, 3, E, and a, 4, okay? And obviously if you speed it up, it sounds even better. 1, E, and a, 2, E, and a, 3, E, and a, 4, E, and a. Okay, let's go ahead and play this one with the included backing track, and here it is. And here we go. Now you can go to your other grip positions. Okay, isn't that gorgeous? So I do encourage you to practice it in both positions, and then when you're feeling good, let's go ahead and improvise using your brush technique. Here we go. I'd start nice and simple. There's my line. Maybe come up to a higher grip. Maybe combine our grips. All right, the final technique is the harmonize technique, and harmonies sound like this. So what am I doing with these harmony notes? Well, I'm basically taking each of my grips and I'm harmonizing the bottom 3 notes with the top note. Right? And I can do this for both grips. So if I come down to this grip, I'm harmonizing these notes with the upper note. Does that make sense? Okay? And so you can create little melodies like that. Notice I'm doing a little slide there. That's a really nice technique you can practice. Now I put together a little harmony exercise. It goes like this. Basically, I'm just coming up the notes of the grip, chord, and I end there, okay? And then same thing. And then I change the bass note. Does that make sense? And you can do this for your other grip as well. Right, same pattern. That makes sense? So you can practice this with the backing track, and once you're feeling good, let's go ahead and improvise with the backing track using harmonies. I'd start off nice and simple. That's it, there's my line. Hey, thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this lesson, be sure to check out pianowithjonny.com. We have over 1,000 step-by-step lessons for all playing levels where you'll learn your favorite songs, styles, and how to improvise at the piano. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.